Right now, we want to play for you part of a focus group recently taken from political analyst Mark Halperin's Wide World of News, in which he spoke with 8 Democratic voters from across the country about the questions surrounding President Biden's age leading up to the 2024 presidential election. Take a look.
If you're concerned that if he shows signs of aging between now and next November, that Republicans could effectively use that to beat him in the presidential campaign. Raise your hand if you're concerned about that.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so everybody's concerned about that. How do you feel about President Biden running for another 4-year term?
I have sort of mixed feelings about it. I think he's really done a lot. My goal is that Trump is not president.
I think he's actually done an incredible job. The age thing is not going to go away. I will certainly support him if he's the nominee, but I would prefer that there be somebody else.
I don't have a problem with his age. The good thing about him, he has age, but he has lots of experience.
I, too, will vote for him, when he's, the one that's probably going to be there. But I just kind of worry. I think he's very strong. I think he's had a great career, a political career, and he's gone both sides of the aisle, and he's been able to communicate with, he doesn't ostracize. I like that about him so much. But my only thing is with the age issue, it's concerning, but the other option scares me. So I can deal with the age thing if it's this or Trump.
I want to ask you one more question about what we started with. Is this question of the president's mental capacity. Raise your hand if you think his capacity are somewhat or significantly, but lessened since he took office. Raise your hand if you've seen a decline of some sort since he took office. Raise your hand. All right. Only 2 of you see any decline whatsoever. The rest of you, just to be clear, the rest of you think he's exactly the same as when he took office.
Yeah, for the most part.
He's got the pressure nut on him now, but yeah.
Mike Barnicle, what was unanimous here was every one of these Democrats said they were going to vote for Joe Biden if Joe Biden was there. They also, you can tell, there's respect and admiration from all the Democrats for what he's done. Some concern about age, and that does track with what we hear from people in Washington, D.C., But again, though, no alternatives to Joe Biden. Right now, they seem to be sticking with him.
That focus group tracks exactly with what you hear from ordinary people when you're grocery shopping, getting gas in your car. Exactly along those lines. People are concerned about his age. He's 81 years of age. He's president of the United States. It's maybe the most difficult job in the world. Today, he's overseas, and he's the head of, really, the legitimate head of NATO, having brought that group together. He gets on a plane, he flies back to Washington, D.C. for another series of dreadful days that begin at 8 a.m. in the morning, if he's lucky, and end at 8 p.m. at night, if he's lucky. He gets overnight intelligence reports that would scare the hell out of any normal human being. All of that at 81. What I think the plan is for the president and his campaign is to more or less own his age, own the fact that he's 81, own the fact that he doesn't run as fast as he used to. He doesn't look as agile as he used to because of his age. He has a troubled foot that makes his walk look a little more lame than he is actually makes it look worse than it is. But at the end of the day, given his age, given his vast experience in government, given his knowledge of the presidency, given the record that he has achieved, which arguably is better than Barack Obama's first term, I think that's what he has to campaign on. Own your age. Say things like, hey, when Washington crossed the Delaware, I was there to help pull those boats in. That's how old I am. He's got to really own his age, and he can do it. And if he ends up doing it properly from his birth in Scranton, Pennsylvania, telling his life story in a shorter version, a briefer version than he's usually used to telling it, he can then say, I am you. I am the American citizen that you are. I have owned homes that I couldn't afford. I have maybe almost had cars repossessed. I've put kids through school. I've carried the weight of an addicted child. I've lost some children. I've lost 2 children. I know the pain that you feel on a daily basis. I'm Joe Biden.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't agree more. And that focus group really reflected like what a conversation we might have had with friends across a dinner table, or you hear across the country. People who really care about him think he's doing a great job, and he's going to be 82 when he's running. And it's interesting. You mentioned he has the foot problem. This is a man who grew up with a stutter. All those things, if you're, I don't know, on one show on Fox News, you're going to focus on that and say he fell off a bike or whatever it is, and make it a huge issue. You talk to Democrats who have voted for him before and look at the alternative. Susan Page, the alternative is the same age, maybe 1 or 2 years younger. It's not like Donald Trump, if he wins the nomination, is some spring chicken, to say the least. And, you know, his presidency was full of executive time and golfing and resting and watching TV, while Joe Biden has been working his you know what off during this presidency and doing a pretty good job. So he's got the track record to match his age and to brag on it.
You know, he doesn't have any choice not to own his age, as Mike was saying. He cannot rewind the clock and become a younger guy. But he can do 2 things. One is he can deal with this with humor, with his comments like knowing George Washington. That is very disarming, and it shows that this isn't something that's getting under his skin. The other thing he has to do is what he's doing this week at NATO, which is to show himself as a vigorous leader who's on top of things, able to deliver, able to unite this alliance, come back home, able to deal with economic concerns that worry many Americans. So he needs to joke and he needs to do, and that is the only way forward in dealing with legitimate concerns about his age, Mika.
Eugene, as you talk to people inside the White House, what's their view of how to handle this for the next 18 months or so? The questions around his age, because as everyone here has said, Democrats, we all know, very supportive of Joe Biden. When you talk to them in private moments, sometimes they go, oof, that press conference was a little tough, or ooh, it was hard to watch him walking across the lawn, whatever it is. Again, Democrats who like Joe Biden. And when you ask them what the alternative might be, they go, well, he beat Donald Trump once and we think he can do it again. So they're going to ride with him. So how is the White House looking at this issue of age?
Yeah, I mean, anybody you talk to in the White House and on their kind of small campaign, or at the DNC even, who's operating as most of the Biden campaign at this point, is that he's not getting younger. I think a couple of years ago when they first got in and Republicans were doing this, they were worried. They were scared that it was going to do something. They didn't want to talk about it. But what has happened over the last few months is that aides around him have said, you know what, also older aides has said, you know what, forget it. Just talk about how old you are. You know, he started making jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner about his age. He started to do it at different events, just little barbs here and there, because what it tells people is like, it doesn't, like Susan said, it doesn't bother him. He's not trying to hide from it. It's obvious that he's older. But what he's tried to do is say, you know, I'm an elder statesman. I'm wise. I have experience, those kinds of things. And more importantly, the most important thing that he can do and has been doing, will be doing, is saying Donald Trump is not only around the same age, I'm the only one that has beat him. And when you have a Democratic Party, both the voters and kind of like the elite of the party here in Washington, D.C., who are terrified of what another 4 years for Donald Trump might mean, that is a powerful and has been a very powerful argument for him to make. It's why you didn't see any Democrats who probably would want to run in 2024 doing anything. The people like Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, the people that have an actual big biography that would be appetizing to voters. That has not happened because they are so terrified. And what Democrats are doing now, and what the Biden campaign is doing now, is also painting Ron DeSantis and the entire Republican Party in Trump, continuing to point out how in Trump's image they are, because what that says is even if it's somebody else, you should still be scared of Trumpism. So they're doing a lot of work just in case it's not Trump as well.
All right, Eugene Daniels and Susan Page, thank you both so much.